Hey coaches, welcome to the second part to the inviting series. So you've already mastered your reach outs, right? Because the reach outs are where it's at. It's where you start building connections with people. And I just want to ask you a simple question. I want you to ask yourself, how good does it feel to start connecting with people that maybe you haven't talked to in a while or that you've never met? It feels pretty good, right? I know I love building connections. It's one of my favorite parts about this business is getting to know people and learning why and what they're doing and all the different aspects in everybody's life. It's pretty fun. I really like it. So the second part to this series is the actual invitation. So the invitation to a challenge group, right? So it doesn't feel, you don't want to, wow, okay, let me start over. You don't want to make it feel salesy, right? That's what I hear a lot of my coaches say. Initially, before they sign up, they say, well, I'm not good at being salesy. Well, let me let you know a secret. I'm not either. And I don't ever want anybody to make it feel like I'm just trying to make a sell off of them. And so the actual invitation and going from a reach out to invitation is a very big sticking point for some coaches. And for some, this is where they stop. And in reality, you just need to learn to work through the invitation, and you need to make it seem genuine and sincere when you are inviting. So how do you go from a reach out to an actual invitation, right? So I want you to do two things. So as you're building a connection with these people, you're obviously going to end the conversation at some point. So to pick back up where you were at, you are going to do what we call validating and relating. So what you're going to do is the last conversation, I want you to pick something that from your previous conversation, and I want you to pick back up where you left off. So let's say I'm starting a conversation with a girl named Allie, and she talks about how her and her family are getting ready to go on this super fun trip to Disneyland, and they're going to be back in a couple of weeks. And so you tell her how excited you are, and so she leaves, right? So she comes back and you want to start the part 2 of the inviting process. So what you're going to do is you would hopefully get on her Facebook page, like a bunch of her pictures and comment on a few, and you're going to message her and you're going to say, hey Allie, it looks like your vacation was so fun. I saw a bunch of your pictures with your family. It looks like you guys had a great time. Then you say, also, I know this may seem really random, but I was actually hoping and wondering if you would be interested in joining my next 30-day accountability group. And by using the words might, maybe, and I don't know, those are what we call laid-back terms. So by using those laid-back terms, you are giving a way for people to opt out. So if they don't want to and they aren't ready, then they can tell you no, and it's perfectly fine. The thing with people telling you no is don't give up on them. Pick up back into the conversation after they tell you no, and pick up right back where you left off at. So maybe ask more about Allie's vacation if you're talking to Allie. Ask about what they did on their trip, so it doesn't leave the invite with a bitter end of the conversation. So you want to always keep the conversation moving, no matter what it is. But the goal is to get them to at least say maybe, okay? So let's say that Allie was all for it and she's super excited to get started, and she said, actually, yeah, I do have a few pounds that I need to lose. I think I would really like the accountability. Then you say, great. So one thing that us coaches like to do, I used to do it too, is you'd get so excited that somebody told you yes, but at this point, well, it seems like a yes, but indefinitely it's a maybe. So when somebody tells you this maybe, you get all excited and you just want to start sending them everything about your challenge groups, when in reality, when you get to this maybe point, I want you guys to stop. stop where you are and think about what you're doing. Because at this point, once you get to the maybe, now what? What's next? You do not want to word vomit, because if you word vomit and you over word things, you're going to scare those people away and then they'll stop talking to you. So learn from my mistakes. I've done it, so I don't want you to do that. So just breadcrumb the opportunity, because I'm going to liken this to eating or feeding somebody a sandwich, right? You don't want to shove the whole sandwich down their throat. You want to feed it to them in little bites, right? And it's the same thing with the inviting process. You have to give them a little bit at a time so that they don't choke to death and get scared and run away, right? So once you get to this maybe, this is where you need to put your stop sign up, and in your head, you can get all the excitement out you want in your head, but you really need to be thinking about where you're going to be sending next. So this is where you need to remember that it's not about you, but it's about them. And you're going to hear me say this in almost all of these videos, but you have to remember that truly this whole thing is about them and helping them. It's not about you. So with that being said, it's easy to overload and word vomit on them, and I've talked about that already. So you want to feed them little bites of the sandwich, right? Not the whole sandwich. So let's say that Allie said yes, all right? So I'm going to send something that says, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're interested in my group, but tell me more about you. Because what is this about? It's about them, right? So maybe then at that point you're going to ask them questions like, do you have a specific goal in mind? Do you have a certain time frame that you would like to keep under? Are you struggling with your nutrition, or do you feel that your nutrition's fair? Ask them questions about them and their lifestyle, if they're working, if how much time that they think that they have in a day to work out, because some people don't have a lot of time, and that's fine, but you aren't going to know that unless you get to know that person, right? And by asking them questions, you're going to get to know them, and then you can go to feel, not only are you going to start feeling a connection, but you're going to now do the two things. You're going to validate what they're saying, and you are going to relate to what they're saying. So you say, oh my gosh, like, I'm so excited that you're excited, and I totally understand that your nutrition is poor because you're super busy. I was at that point too, and I didn't have a lot of time to prepare my meals either. So I can actually offer you a free meal plan in our challenge group to show you what are some meals that me and my family have every single week. So that is a form or a way to answer a question that they have, to validate the problem but give them a solution up front. So by answering these powerful questions, they're going to feel that connection again with you, and they're going to share what they're doing and what they're not doing, and they are going to give you something to validate and relate to. So that is your next job as a coach, is to take a step back and find something that you can relate and validate to their story, because that's when you're going to dig and pull out your story and pick out parts of your story that you can relate with them. Because there is something, I don't care who it is, about your story that can always resonate and help somebody else. So now they know that you know how they feel, and they want to know that you've been there. So you're going to tell them a piece of their story to help validate and show that you care about them. And you're going to show them how this is going to, or some form of your story is going to help them. So if you never ask, you're never going to know how to help the person if you don't ask questions. So this next video, I am going to be talking about how when they finally open up to you and tell you what they're struggling with and what they're afraid of. I am going to show you how to use Beachbody to fill the gap and show them how Beachbody can help them like it's helped us. Talk to you later.